May 27th, 1941. Somewhere in the North Atlantic, 2,200 men are standing on a ship that is on fire, flooding, and completely unable to steer. British warships are closing in from every direction. The crew knows what's coming, and yet, this ship has already done something that shocked the entire world just 3 days earlier. This is the story of the Bismarck, the most feared battleship in history, and the 8 days that changed naval warfare forever.
Germany, 1936. Adolf Hitler has one obsession burning in his mind: domination, not just on land, on the sea. He orders the construction of something the world has never seen. A battleship so massive, so powerful that just its name would strike fear into enemy commanders. They call it the Bismarck, named after the Iron Chancellor, the man who unified Germany through sheer force of will. Fitting. By the time it's commissioned in August 1940, the Bismarck is a floating fortress, 823 feet long, 52,000 tons of steel, 8 15-inch guns capable of hurling shells the size of small cars over 20 miles. It can do 30 knots, faster than almost anything the British can put against it. Hitler looks at this machine and sees the future of warfare. He's about to be proven very wrong. May 19th, 1941, dead of night. The Bismarck slips quietly out of port. No fanfare, no crowds. Because this mission, codenamed Operation Rheinübung, is a secret. The plan is simple and devastating. The Bismarck and her escort, the heavy cruiser Prince Eugen, are going to break out into the open Atlantic and hunt Allied supply ships. Britain is an island nation. Everything it needs, food, oil, weapons, comes by sea. Cut those supply lines and Britain starves. Germany wins the war without firing a single land bullet. But the British have eyes everywhere. Within days, a lone RAF Spitfire pilot flying at 26,000 feet spots the Bismarck anchored in a Norwegian fjord. The photos land on the desk of Admiral John Tovey. He immediately deploys the entire British home fleet. The hunt is on. May 24th, Denmark Strait. The narrow, freezing waters between Greenland and Iceland. 2 British ships are racing to intercept the Bismarck, the battleship HMS Prince of Wales, and the jewel of the Royal Navy, HMS Hood. The Hood isn't just a warship, it's a symbol, the most famous battleship in the world. To the British people, the Hood is practically invincible. At dawn, both sides open fire. Shells the size of cars are screaming through the air at 1,000 miles per hour. Then, a single Bismarck shell finds the Hood's forward magazine. What happens next is almost unbelievable. The entire ship explodes, not slowly, not dramatically. In 3 minutes, the pride of the British Navy is gone. Of 1,400 men on board, only 3 survive. 3 men alive. Britain is in shock. The world is in shock. The Bismarck is untouchable. But the Bismarck isn't unscathed. During the battle, British shells damage a forward fuel tank, hemorrhaging 1,000 tons of precious oil into the sea. Admiral Lutyens makes the call: abort the mission, head for occupied France, get repairs. What he doesn't know is that this decision has just set a clock ticking, because now the entire British Empire is coming for him. Every available warship, aircraft carriers, destroyers, battleships. Britain doesn't care about the cost. The order from the Admiralty is 4 words: sink the Bismarck. May 26th. Bismarck is almost safe. In less than 12 hours, she'll be under the protective umbrella of German air cover. The British are desperate. They launch a wave of torpedo bombers from the carrier HMS Ark Royal, ancient swordfish biplanes, fabric and wire, flying through a brutal Atlantic storm. They find their target. 2 torpedoes hit. The first is a dud. The second changes history. It strikes the Bismarck's rudder. The massive ship begins to circle. She cannot steer. She cannot run. She is 700 miles from safety, and she is going nowhere. All night, British destroyers harass the stricken giant, keeping her crew exhausted and terrified. The crew knows what morning will bring. Some write final letters. Commander Lucian sends a grim radio message to Hitler. Ship unmaneuverable. We will fight to the last shell. Long live Germany. May 27th.
In 1936, the colossal hull of the Bismarck began to rise from the docks, a testament to German engineering and ambition.
Blank range. The Bismarck is reduced to a burning ruin, but she refuses to sink. The British pour in 400 confirmed hits and the ship is still floating. Finally, 3 torpedoes from the HMS Dorsetshire finish the job. At 10:40 in the morning, the Bismarck slips beneath the Atlantic. 2,200 men go into the freezing water. British ships rescue 110 before a U-boat warning forces them to leave. More than 2,000 men die. Hitler is devastated. The loss shatters his confidence in surface naval warfare. He never sends another capital ship into the Atlantic. Instead, Germany doubles down on U-boats, the submarine campaign that will haunt the Allies for years. In a strange way, the death of the Bismarck reshapes the entire naval strategy of World War II. In 1989, oceanographer Robert Ballard, the same man who found the Titanic, locates the wreck of the Bismarck on the ocean floor. What he finds is remarkable. The hull is largely intact. She wasn't sunk by British guns. Evidence strongly suggests the crew scuttled her themselves, opening the seacocks, choosing to go down on their own terms rather than surrender. Even at the end, the Bismarck did things her own way. 8 days. That's all it took for the Bismarck to go from the most feared weapon in the world to the bottom of the Atlantic. 8 days that cost thousands of lives, changed the course of naval history, and created a legend that still echoes 80 years later. If you want more stories like this, wars, mysteries, moments that actually changed the world, hit subscribe. New video every week on Threshold Theory.